Hey guys, it's Michelle, and this is another edition of Coaching from the Couch. Although I recognize that I'm not on the couch, I am in my new office, which I think I'm going to spend a lot more time in. It is not at all done, which is why I'm not showing it to you yet. But my desk is in here, and all of my, my journal and my laptop, and I'm just loving it. So I'm going to have to find another cool tagline for these kind of impromptu videos. But I want to come and talk with you about the dangers of slow growth. I have long written about the benefit of speed in business. I have always had kind of a penchant for speed on the road, unfortunately, right? But I have always, kind of championed this idea of going fast in business, not in the mindset or in the vein of hustling to where you are like frantic and frazzled, not that, but essentially it's not settling for slow growth when fast growth is really calling your name, when fast growth is what you want. And I tell you, one of the dangers of slow growth is that you might build in so much prep and planning and all of that whatever you're building is too heavy to get off the ground. I have personally been approached by two separate companies that are indicative of this exact scenario, right? So they were building essentially like a behemoth, right? It was something that was, it required so much infrastructure and so much money and so many moving parts that by the time it came to really make some money from this business, instead of actually, putting money into it, it was just so much of a drag, right? They had prepped and built to death, but at the end, they had no proven asset that they could sell or monetize, right? This is a very scary thing. It happens all the time. It happens more in tech companies, but this happens all the time. And for you and me, slow growth can equally be dangerous. We can miss opportunities. We cannot push ourselves and grow when we should. There are many things that happen with slow growth. When fast growth is actually a lot more trustworthy, it's something that kind of aligns with the way the market goes and also aligns with the enthusiasm of an entrepreneur. So when you are considering what I call settling for slow, right? And here's some ways to know you're settling for slow. You are making excuses about why you're not launching. You have a laundry list of things that still need to be done before you go to market. You have, you are making just a ton of these kind of, I got to get this done and then kind of statements about when you're going to finally go to market and put this thing out there. The thing is, when you are going super slow, it can feel defeating, and a big launch or a big sprint in your business can feel too intimidating because you've been doing baby steps for way too long. So that's one of the dangers of slow growth. The second, quick note on that, media buys speed. Media buys speed. If you want quick growth, you want to definitely utilize the media. Obviously, I have a media event, our annual media event that comes up in New York City. There are still spots left, and you are never, ever going to get the opportunity that you get at our media events anywhere else. Frankly, we only allow 25 people in. There are 12 to 15 media outlets there, and you get time with them socially. You get time with them to pitch. You're not in the middle of crowds and chaos. There's literally no other event like it. So if you want speed, you can buy speed with media. So message me about that. The second danger of slow growth is it allows for too big of a gap between knowing and doing, right? And I don't know about you guys, but I can feel super bloated with information. In fact, it was a big deal for me when I was, I don't know, it was a couple years ago. I forget when I made this rule that I'm going to tell you about, but I get this newsletter and I would read it every time it came in the mail, in the bathtub. I looked forward to it, and I realized that I was doing a lot of things, or I was not doing a lot of things that I knew to do, right? So I had all this information that wasn't being released in the form of action. And so the danger of slow growth is that it can actually widen that gap. The truth is, for all of us, there's always a slight gap at minimum between what we know to do and what we actually do, right? We're only human. But the wider that gap gets, the further you get from reaching your goals, the further you get from being able to, go to bed proud at night, right? Like, so you want to close that gap between knowledge and doing. I was thinking about this today. I was thinking about the fat, the obese doctor who smokes, right? It's not that this person missed every class on obesity and nutrition and lung cancer, right? They know better. They're just not doing. Their gap is too big. And a lot of times, and I found myself in this situation where when I was even teaching business at the time, I was not Women Who Wow hadn't started, but it was before that, but I was still, teaching business. And I realized in my teaching that I knew a lot more than I was actually implementing. And that started to bother me. And so I started to have this this rule I made for myself, which was an attempt to close the gap between knowing and doing. But I would have like a 1-to-1 rule. So if I spent an hour learning or reading, I would spend an hour implementing something that I just read. And that kept me from getting bloated with information. It kept my gap a little bit smaller. And fast growth ensures that you have a smaller gap between what you know and what you do. Slow growth welcomes that gap. And here's the danger. When you are constantly in almost mode, you're constantly in prep mode, planning mode, getting stuff together, you're going for the marathon. Like, first of all, you're not kidding anybody but yourself, right? We know what delays look like. We know what procrastination looks like. So you do want to make sure that you are being cognizant and aware of the excuses you make to go slow, to settle for slow. But you're costing yourself opportunity, momentum, right? And all of these things are dangers inherent in settling for slow or slow growth. So I appreciate you guys being here. I am super excited about my new office. I'll be doing a lot more lives from here. I've got some kind of fancy equipment coming in because I'm fancy like that. And I am just excited. So if you have any questions for me about business, about marketing, about branding, about Women Who Wow, right? The best tribe of seriously driven women entrepreneurs anywhere in the world, message me, m.me/Women Who Wow. If you want to buy speed, message me about the media event I have coming up in New York City. There's literally nothing like it. I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.